World Cup 2026. It was a whole show to announce the squad, and this is it. The 26 players that will represent Brazil in the World Cup. The biggest surprise, obviously, is the inclusion of Neymar. He will be back after almost 3 years, the last time he played for the national team. João Pedro was shockingly left out of the roster. Carlo Ancelotti said the following regarding Neymar. We've been evaluating Neymar all year, and we've seen that in recent weeks, he's played consistently and improved his physical condition. We believe he's an important player, and he'll be an important player in this World Cup. He has the same role and responsibilities as the other 25 players. He has the possibility of playing, of not playing, of being on the bench, of coming on. It is important not to place all expectations on one player. I think we have a shared responsibility as a team, and everyone has to give their all, using their own qualities for one thing only: to help the national team win the World Cup. I ask for nothing else. I don't want stars. I want players who are ready to help the team win games. And we have our best team player joining us on Fútbol Américas, Gustavo Hoffman, ESPN reporter, Brazil insider. Welcome, Gustavo. The first question, obviously, about Neymar. How big of a surprise was for you and for Brazil that he was included in the final roster?
Hello, Mauricio, Hercules, Ale, everybody. Well, over the last 48 hours, there were many reports in Brazil suggesting that Neymar would be called up. So about the last 48 hours, I would say that it was not a surprise to see Neymar on that list. But if you asked me 1 week ago, 2 weeks ago, 1 month ago, for sure. I think that everybody's a little bit surprised, because that's the first time Carlo Ancelotti calls Neymar for the team. He hasn't been called up with Carlo Ancelotti. That's the first time. I think that it's important to say that Neymar is playing for Santos in Brazil over the last month, and he hasn't been the Neymar that we were used to see. Neymar nowadays, he wasn't making the difference in the Brazilian football, in the Brazilian championship. He of course, that he has a huge talent. He's a star for Brazil. People in Brazil love him. People in Brazil, I think that most people of Brazil wanted to see Neymar at the World Cup, but I think that he has been called up by Carlo Ancelotti not because of what he has done on the field, not because of what he has played for Santos, but because of what he has already achieved at his career, or because of what he has already played at the highest level possible. But I think that's really important to say that Neymar wasn't making the difference in the Brazilian football. So it was a little bit surprise for everybody, but over the last 48 hours, as I said, there were many reports suggesting that he would be on that list.
He's called up because of what he means for Brazil. He's called up because at some point in time, they understand that maybe they're going to need some creativity. Maybe they're going to need a moment of magic. Maybe they're going to need somebody to step up because they know the game is going into penalty kicks. Maybe they're going to need that leadership. But Gustavo's right. It's not because of his current moment. It's because of what he means for that country, who he is for that country, what he's done for that country. It has very little to do with who he is today on the field. But again, if you're Carlo Ancelotti, you weigh, what can he give me in terms of leadership? What can he give me in terms of guidance? What can he give me in terms of mentorship? And if I need something on the field, if there's a moment of magic, can he unlock something on a set piece? Can he unlock something with that creativity? Can he give us something going forward? He's one of 26. He said it himself. He's probably not going to be a starter. He may be a starter, may not be a starter. Most likely won't be. But if you need him in a pinch, he could be of use.
You're asking these rhetorical questions from Carlo Ancelotti's perspective as to what can he bring, or what can Neymar bring in terms of leadership and mentorship. I'll ask you the question. What can he bring in terms of leadership and mentorship? Because that hasn't been a strength of Neymar in his career at club level. It hasn't been the case, and it certainly hasn't been the case as of late either. So You answer the question. What can he bring in terms of leadership and mentorship?
Oh, I think you could see by the way the players speak about him. Joao Pedro, days ago, when they asked, who would you like to go? I'd like to see Neymar.
Well,
those players looked
you
up
just
to-
mentioned Joao Pedro. 1 second.
Yeah,
Neymar has a spot in this national team. Joao Pedro does not. So maybe Joao Pedro didn't need to say that to begin with.
Well, maybe he didn't, but he did. But you're asking me what he can bring. There's a long list of these young players who look up to Neymar, who idolize Neymar. And I don't think Carlo Ancelotti is the type to just give something out. He wouldn't bring Neymar if he didn't think he could provide something. So if you're asking me, hypothetically, what Ancelotti is thinking, I think he's thinking that. I think he's thinking not only the mentorship, the leadership, but in a moment of crisis within a game, a moment of magic.
I think Carlo Ancelotti is a very smart individual, an incredibly smart individual who has been around this game for a long, long time. And he knows full well, as does Gustavo, and really all of us that have been talking about this subject for seemingly the last 6 months, 8 out of 10 articles in the Brazilian media over the last 6 months have been about the same thing. Is Neymar going to be part of the World Cup? Is he going to be in the team? Is he not going to be in the team? What is Carlo Ancelotti thinking? What is he going to do? It all surrounds Neymar. So in my estimation, this is far more of a political decision by Carlo Ancelotti than a sporting decision by Carlo Ancelotti. He is kicking this can down the road. So I named the team. Neymar is part of the team. We no longer have to talk about this. There will be no questions as to what he needs to answer regarding whether Neymar is on the team or not on the team. He is. And so now you allow yourself some time, if you're Carlo Ancelotti, to assess the player very closely and then figure out, can he really help me? Can he not help me? He's already made the statement. His role is not going to be, hey, out and out starter. He may come off the bench, he may not. This is not about superstar. But what I have said all along, and I've been very consistent about this, not from the perspective of Carlo Ancelotti, from my perspective, if I were Carlo Ancelotti, if this were a sporting decision, there is no doubt in my mind that this player does not deserve to be part of this World Cup national team for Brazil. He does not, in terms of what he has done as of now. If it is a Lifetime Achievement Award, so be it, we can go ahead and do that. You just said that Carlo Ancelotti doesn't just hand things. He just handed something to Neymar because Neymar did not deserve to make this team.
Let me ask Gustavo, because of what you said. Gustavo, if Carlo Ancelotti hadn't called Neymar up to the list, to the national team, what do you think would have been the reaction from the Brazilian media, from the Brazilian fans, if Ancelotti would have said no Neymar for the World Cup?
It would be a nightmare, for sure. It would be all about Neymar out of the squad. It would be everything again like happened in 2002 when Romario was left out of the squad. And then over the last days, we were talking a lot about that, comparing the situations, you know, what happened to Romario in 2022 and what could happen to Neymar now. So for sure, I definitely understand what Ali is saying. I don't think Neymar is a leader. I think that he can be a technical leader because of what he can play, but he's not a leader of this team. Definitely he's not a leader of this team, but yes, he's an idol for many, many young players. Many players like Vinicius Jr. Vinicius has Neymar as an idol. And I'd like also to remind everybody that Brazil lost in the last weeks 2 probable starters, Rodrigo and Estevão. So there were spots available on this team. Rodrigo and Estevão would probably be starters in the World Cup. Ancelotti was trying a team with Rodrigo on the left, Vinicius as a center forward, Matheus Cunha or Rafinha. Rafinha, of course, would be the start, and Estevão on the right. So there were some spots. João Pedro said that he wanted to see Neymar. Neymar probably got the spot that would be for João Pedro, but it would really be a nightmare. If Neymar wouldn't be in the squad, the stories today, the reports would be everything about Neymar out.
For not giving Carlo Ancelotti enough credit here, I think it's going to be more of a nightmare for him now answering questions, because now you have a player like Neymar, and I'm not discounting what you're saying about Neymar being a distraction, if you will. But the moment you choose Neymar, the questions now in the World Cup, every single game, are going to go back to Neymar. So you could have gone down the easy road, and you have to say to yourself, is it worth it? Because every single time that we play and Neymar doesn't play, there's going to be a Neymar question. If we lose, there's going to be a Neymar question. So I have to assume that as political as it may be, Ale, he's weighing the pros and cons here, and he sees Neymar being part of a group just slightly above it being a con. Because you're going to have to answer questions about Neymar every single game.
Herc, let me just tell you. If you're going to try to present a case for Neymar being in this World Cup, it cannot be a sporting case. It cannot. He has done nothing over the last 6 months to a year to warrant this call-up to the national team. So if you cannot then make a sporting case, then what is the other reason?
You a sporting case.
Huh?
Just gave you a sporting case. There's going to be moments on the field when you need a player of his creativity, a presence. There may be a moment where they're going into a penalty kick shootout where you know a Neymar could handle that type of pressure.
Okay. Wait a minute. You watch Neymar play over the last 6 months. You tell me if that player is at the level of the Brazilian national team. That's a yes or no.
Of this pool of players, of this pool of Brazilian players, I think you could use a Neymar.
Okay.
Use that creativity.
So who does he play in front of?
Well, he just played in front of Joao Pedro. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't see any rational explanation. I'm not saying you're entirely wrong on his level. I'm just saying.
I don't care if you think I'm wrong or not,
No.
Hercules. I'm asking. Is this player worthy of a call-up given his performances? That's a simple question.
He's got 6 goals in the last 13, 14 games, Gustavo.
Oh boy.
And you could only
like that.
What? Hold on. You could only play who's in front of you. So you're asking me. I am telling you, in this World Cup, if you guys are trying to tell me he won't play, I'm not buying it. I guarantee you, in that group, he's going to play against Haiti, and he may even do something of worth versus Haiti. And all of a sudden, it's going to get louder and louder for Neymar to play more.
That's a good segue, because I wanted to ask Gustavo as well. With Neymar as a part of the team, but also you have Vini, you have Rafinha. I'm going to do 2 quick questions. Just the first one, answer it real quick, and then expand on the second. Who's going to wear the historic number 10 jersey for Brazil in the World Cup? That's number 1. And number 2, who will Carlo Ancelotti build his team around for the World Cup that's starting in less than 4 weeks?
Answering number 1, Neymar, for sure. Neymar, I think that there's no doubt about it. It will be Neymar because of his history with the Brazilian national team. Answering number 2, now I think that nobody really knows what's gonna happen, because I think that the pressure was on Carlo Ancelotti to make the decision to leave Neymar in Brazil or to take him to the States. He took the decision to go with Neymar. Okay, I think that now the pressure is on Neymar to be fit, to be ready for the World Cup. And so we're going to see how Carlo Ancelotti handle this situation in the next weeks when the team, after the team presentation in Teresópolis, it's going to be May 27. So from that point on till the World Cup, I think that we need to see how fit will be Neymar, and how Carlo Ancelotti will handle this situation. Because, as I said, and everybody knows, Neymar, it's the first time that Carlo Ancelotti calls Neymar for the national team. So I cannot say today that the team will be built around Neymar. It would be something that I can't even imagine nowadays. When I project the team for the World Cup, after the exits of Rodrigo and Esteban, I want to see if Vini Jr. will play as center forward or on the left. Who's going to be the starter on the right? Rafinha will be playing on the right or in the center with Matheus Cunha or not? And Neymar, will he be a starter? I don't think so. Is he he's gonna be fit? That's the main discussion now in Brazil, because Neymar, okay, he proved that he could have some sequence of games. He has been playing for Santos, but not in the level that we always expected. So now he needs to prove himself to Carlo Ancelotti on the training.
So it's who Carlo Ancelotti sees as the player that he should be building around. And there's really very little time to work on that before the start of the World Cup. But Ali, if you have to point at one player that Carlo Ancelotti right now is thinking, okay, if things go south, things go wrong, I can rely on this player that the rest of the team will follow.
So it hasn't been Vinny Jr. and it won't be Vinny Jr. And so you're looking for maturity. You're looking for a guy who can take on that responsibility and who I believe has the trust of the players in this group. And I believe that player has to be Rafinha. Now, Rafinha, on his talent level alone, is not going to be enough for Brazil to go on and win this World Cup. But I do think that if we're looking for leaders of this team, he's got to be at the forefront of that. And he's got to be an angular piece to the success of this group. But if you are given that responsibility to Rafinha, it's because this team is going to play an entirely different style than what we're used to when it comes to Brazil. It cannot be built around Neymar because right now Neymar is not good enough to do that. Hasn't proven to be good enough to do that at Santos, certainly not good enough to do that for Brazil at the World Cup. Now, if you watch Brazil play as of late, they have become a version of what Real Madrid was late with Carlo Ancelotti and how they went on to win Champions League with Carlo Ancelotti in his latter years with Real Madrid. A counter-attacking team. A team that is going to absorb pressure, and in the latter stages of the competition, that's how they are more likely to go and beat bigger teams. Give them the ball, we'll absorb pressure, and we'll get on the counter, and that's when it's important to have Vini, that's when it's important to have Rafinha, that's when you need the legs of those players. This Brazilian team is not a Jogo Bonito sort of Brazilian team. It's not the Scratch do Ouro, it's not a Seleção. No, it is not. This is a different version. And so, again, I go back to my initial question. If it's a sporting decision, and you're thinking about the latter stages of this competition, Neymar doesn't match the needs and wants of your national team and what you have done and how you have built this national team if you are Carlo Ancelotti. Bottom line, with the inclusion of Neymar in this group, Brazil is neither more likely or less likely to win the World Cup before the announcement. He doesn't make them less likely to win it or more likely to win it. I don't think he tips the scales one way or another because I don't think right now, at this point in his career, he is the player that he once was. Gustavo just told us he's not making a difference for Santos. What makes us think that he's going to make a difference for Brazil in the World Cup in a quarterfinal match? Maybe he takes a penalty. Maybe that's his role. Maybe coming up late and maybe. But these are maybes that we have an answer. And more importantly, he has an answer. Not me, not you, not us. He has an answer on the field.
Yeah, I'll tell you who has an answer on the field. Rafinha for Brazil, Vini Jr. for Brazil, Endrick for Brazil. We can go down the list of players who have been no-shows for Brazil. So much so that a center back like Marquinhos has more goals than all these players I've named combined for the Brazilian national team. That is the Brazil of today.
Hercules, would you start Neymar in the World Cup?
I didn't say that.
No, but
nobody's saying that. That's the problem. Nobody's saying that.
No, but if you're suggesting, if you're just going to name that Vini hasn't scored and Rafinha hasn't scored and Hendrick hasn't scored and this guy hasn't scored, it's because then the next evolution is, well, Neymar is the all-time leading goal scorer in Brazil. So
he is.
By that logic, then okay, should he be starting?
That plays a factor to why he's here, is what I'm trying to tell you. Nobody's saying he's going to start, but if we're trying to presume that there is some logic in Carlo Ancelotti's decision, that would be it, is that the weak player pool plus somebody who you can maybe count on in a pinch is enough of a factor where I agree with Ale, it doesn't sway one way or the other. If he's in the roster, then maybe that's a deciding factor.
You know who could have scored a lot, who has been scoring as of late? João Pedro. And he's not a part of this team. That was one of the questions.
Can I just ask, can I just say one more thing? Because we're focusing on the attacking part of this team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to have a concern about Brazil, don't you worry about Neymar. Don't worry about the absence of João Pedro. Worry about that midfield.
We'll get there. We'll
Good
get there.
Lord
Trust
Jesus.
me. Trust me. We are going
Good
to
Lord
get there.
Jesus.